When you give something your all and don't get the right result, you may just be looking in the wrong place. Maid was considered a fairly overlooked competitive Brawlhalla player in the beginning of his career. To be fair, not many people were looking at him to begin with. That was until, right after his best singles performance, he was offered a rare opportunity to play in the next major with his friend Experience, who was seen as some sort of prodigy at this time, taking a major risk grabbing Maid as a teammate who had little experience in the high-level doubles environment. The expectations for this team were fairly low.
Maid is sort of a Scythe player. Top level characters, Mordex, Fate, Nyx, Volkov. That is 4 Scythe characters
Coming from a 1v1 background and transitioning to 2v2s as your main focus is not very easy. All the reads, all the pressure, and all the aggression is now based off of 2 people and 2 teams. Now, most professional players do excel at both 1s and 2s, but they were probably already a top 8 player on their own. Maid, on the other hand, is not even in the top 50 for 2v2s, and with his first tournament with Experience, is already breaking into the top 12. I like to compare Maid to Poe. Sort of a nearby character just outside of the top walls is now being selected to play amongst the best. I think it's a pretty good analogy. Just wait, you will understand it later.
Maid, oh my goodness, if you looked at the power rank leaderboard and saw Experience in Maid, you might scoff at that. But Santi and Snowy, they gotta put some respect on Experience in Maid.
About the whole respect thing, casters had a pretty hard time respecting the Maid playstyle, and that's a very artistic interpretation of what I'm calling it. You know, it's also known as dropping some pretty low numbers, but something that separated Maid a lot in the beginning was his more supportive playstyle that would lead to his damage being very different from Experience's. But be careful, I like to call this reduced amount of damage the Maid illusion. Do not fall for the illusion. Do you want to know what happened to the last guy who fell for the Maid illusion? Some people in the higher Brawlhalla intellectual society, HBIS for short, argue this is just Maid not doing a whole lot of damage. But you can say whatever you want because they are already making it past the top 12. If Luna and Pugsy want to win this, we need to watch out for 2 things. First, let's go ahead and ban Apocalypse. I see we've already missed this part, but moving on. Next, watch out for the Maid illusion. Now, what is the Maid illusion? I do sometimes see visions, but there seems to be a reoccurring theme where Maid drops some humble numbers, and this leads to the enemy focusing Experience. This then gives Maid the ability to kind of activate and take everyone by surprise the next game.
Finishes off game number 1. Alright, never mind. There. Stuck on the right side. Luna with a nice punish. Pugsy with the save from deep to keep Luna alive. Pugsy's gonna fall with nice down air. Experience still gets the touch. Another down air. Luna target swaps. Maid with the save. Pugsy kick. In the YouTube show called The Ring. Plenty of time. Maid definitely taking more damage here than Pugsy. Does have to be careful of that. That was a beautiful. Not finding any connections. Maid, one more nair could be enough. The recovery will definitely do it. Maid with the 1v1.
Now this is where they messed up. All you had to do was lose 1 game. But no, we had to win every single set. Meaning now you get to face the best players in the world, which is like, whoa, that's so cool. Until you realize they're the best players in the world. So the games, you know, not the closest. They're honestly just lucky the Maid illusion never kicked in. And if that wasn't bad enough, they now have to go back and beat Luna and Pugsy again. Kind of the 1-2 uppercut of fighting game brackets is even if you beat a team, they can still go into losers where they're just waiting for you like a shark. But if they beat them once, they can definitely do it again. Only this time, it's to make it to the grand finals.
Oh, dude, that was a really good coverage, yeah. Experience straight up winning. Going for it off the side of the stage. Pugsy's done. Oh, snap. Okay, 1v1.
That would be the high strength legends. It's like someone.
Oh, he does.
He's extremely damaged. Oh my god.
Wait, whoa, nice catch by Maid, dude. One star. Oh, wow, that's it. That's, yeah, that was the last thing he was taking there.
I'm gonna be brutally honest here for a second. Boomy and Sandstorm have a little over 640 times Maid in Experience's earnings. But you know, staying hopeful for a rare moment or just taking time to build synergy in 2v2s is helpful for Maid in Experience. And while they're building and focusing on synergies, Boomy and Sandstorm are focused on winning their third BCX title in a row, which is Brawlhalla's World Championship. The struggle to beat Boomy and Sandstorm leads to Maid locking in Mordex, which in theory, Scythe is a very good 2v2 weapon. Notice I said in theory. Do not attempt to play Scythe in 2v2s, then when you lose, come back to me. That's not my fault, but it does have the ability to throw people in multiple directions with little knockback. So it could be incredible, but if you have a hard time isolating your opponents, a more solid team composition will always win out. The easier the team combos, the easier the follow-ups, the easier it is to win.
So fast!
Oh,
It's a
no.
speed
He's
run!
out.
There's nothing he can do! It's over! Ladies and gentlemen, Boomy and Sandstorm are the North American Autumn Champions!
Okay, the Winter Championship didn't go as planned, but Maid was missing some combos, Experience was missing some combos too. But there's next time, and well, that is not Maid on his team anymore, is it? Maid, in shorter terms, was dropped, which kind of makes sense. Not because I think Maid should be dropped, but as soon as imbalance seeps into the mind of a team that one member is pulling more weight than the other one, they usually begin to fall apart. There might have been too many Maid illusions where the second half of the illusion never kicked in, but Experience wanted to see if he could push his limits further with someone who has a bit more history than Maid. The only thing is, his placements don't really change. On top of this, Experience is doing what he can to maintain his status in the 1v1 mode as well as 2v2. Meanwhile, Maid is only refining his skill just a bit beneath Experience and placements. This is personally the area where I probably would have gotten my feelings hurt, but regardless, because Experience decided to keep up his status in 1v1s, it would pay off in a pretty big way. This being the mid-season invitational, where they invite the top 13 players in North America to face off against the rest of the world in 1v1s and 2v2s. Upon hearing this, Experience was dropped by his current teammate for an opportunity with Sandstorm. Honestly, can't really blame them. That's a pretty big one, which means Maid is open as an option again to team. Of course, teaming would be viewed more of a fact that they are friends than teammates, presenting the two of them to be a low-level threat coming to MSI. It also didn't help that they usually played ping pong in between sets rather than practice. Apparently it was to build synergy. It definitely didn't help with the threat part. But that being said, MSI doubles starts now, which means tournament arc number 2 for this video also begins. Listen everyone, like always, I don't start a tournament arc without an objective. The objective is, I'm gonna be honest, the objective is simple. Play good enough to keep Experience as a teammate and hopefully leave this tournament somewhat successful as a player and not just Experience as friend. Something else that would be more of a team objective for Maid in Experience is something that's been bothering them for a while. I don't really know how to word this, but maybe respect. These guys get bet against in every single match they play, so let's try and change that. Alright, meeting over, leave me. Gonna be honest, there is certain teams you face where one member is way better to focus. And for as much as I actually want Blaze to succeed as a player, when he's a part of this team, definitely one of the players you just gotta isolate. He's kind of been in the same boat as Maid before due to teaming with Acno, but still, he's a part of a team that didn't lose for 2 years during the online era.
Oh, the recovery plays. Does he have enough? He doesn't. It's
Whoa.
all up to Hyson. He's gone.
Oh, Mo, oh, they're going so hard. It's over. That's 3-0. That's a clean sweep.
In the past, I've described Luna as a villain, casually destroying in the pro scene, but today, I'm referring to him as a kaiju, which is a giant mythical monster and distant threat, but you never know when it's going to come your way, and it's just something so strong in nature, you need 2 people's brains to take him down, which I think is a great analogy for how you need to take down Luna and Pugsy in your 2v2 bracket. Luna at the time was the best 1v1 player, arguably in the world. However, he was not the brains of the operation. That would be Pugsy. So you just need to get rid of Pugsy's guard dog. I cannot call these people dogs, man. You just need to focus Luna, and it puts Pugsy in a really bad position where he's open to a 2v1 that he can't really handle. fighting games are not always about how well you're doing. You have to have some faith in the other guys to do their job too. Meanwhile, on the other side of the winner's bracket, Boomy and Snowy are set up to face Fiend and Wesley. Ideally here, Boomy and Snowy win, because Maid and Experience have at least faced them before a couple of times. Not to mention the fact that Fiend and Wesley as a team is kind of scary. Earlier in the year, Fiend and Wesley were battling back and forth for rank 1 in South America, with West pretty much in the lead. And for this tournament, they decided to put that aside. Turns out, when you put the rank 1 player and former rank 1 player together, they work out really good as a team. It's like if All Might and Endeavor just put things aside and got to work. West and Experience are clearly the powerhouses of these two teams, so really the dividing factor is how well can Maid and Fiend either support their powerhouse or step up themselves. And this is where that cross swap for Maid becomes a big deal. I've always described it in this way. Some characters take more work and precision than others. Now this is pro level. Everything takes a lot of work and precision, but we're looking at Cross and Hattori here, okay? Look at this thing. One cross sig does enough damage to knock you out 3 times over. If anyone needs to step up to win this game, it's Maid on Cross. Now, for the hardest part of a fighting game tournament, explaining grand finals. Actually, it's just 2 teams. No, it's not. Please be considerate. This concept eludes some people. Maid and Experience have won every single game, meaning they're still on the winner's side of the bracket in grand finals. And if you happen to lose a game, you go to the loser's side of the bracket. If you were to lose in the loser's side of the bracket, you're eliminated. But if you win all your games in the loser's bracket, you can make it to grand finals on loser's side. And now the winners get to sit anxiously and watch how it all plays out in the loser bracket to see who's going to face them in grand finals.
Punish here, he dash jumps, pivots from the stair, Bozy goes down, he gets something as simple, Sarah do this,
I have a confession to make. I terribly covered this grand finals a long time ago, and thinking of that video reminded me Experience is only 15 at this time and the most intense tournament of his life. When you compare that to myself, my 2 teammate medically cannot drink Mountain Dew Code Red, and he's 23. The point being, minus the Code Red part, the pressure of grand finals makes people do some questionable things, like locking in Taros, maybe knocking out our teammate who locked in Taros, and just in general, struggling with momentum. Maid on Cross also doesn't seem to be working, and it's not that Maid's Cross is bad, it's just not covering for Experience, which would then allow him to play explosively off stage like he usually does. Along with all that, you're on a LAN environment. Some people use intimidation tactics on LAN environments. Wes has a habit of looking at his opponents either when they're taking too long or playing poorly to Wes's standards, which honestly is kind of cool, but it would be very intimidating. With all these problems stacking up, something needs to change. In the doubles format, more commonly than singles, you'll see a character swap in hopes of improving some aspect of performance. And if you remember, back to the very beginning, Maid's Koji, while endlessly questioning about the numbers it was putting up on the board, also did a very good job at letting Experience kind of farm a lot of damage on their opponents. It didn't look good, but it worked. Look, it's like when Poe realized he may be a big fat panda, but he is the big fat panda. Meaning, people may not like it at first, but if it was working for Maid and Experience back then, it may just be enough now to turn around this grand finals.
Perfect weapon spot for experience. Who's it gonna be?
I can't. This is
Weapon
so
throw hits.
intense,
He
man.
picks it up. The recovery hits, and that's it.
That's it. The tournament is over.
Gonna do with the recovery. Now you're all alone to close out
This is the thing with these guys. They lack discipline. Look at me uploading at times, okay? You gotta stay on the grind. But I think winning MSI not only raised expectations for Maiden experience, but might have made them a bit complacent heading into the World Championship. I mean, I'm saying this like I didn't go 2-2 at BCX, but to be fair, I was my teammates' fourth backup option, you know, desperate times. This isn't about me. This is about being more than just winning MSI. And with an abrupt early loss in their bracket, Maid and experience would be in the loser side at top 24. This causes some issues. Like when you lose, you're then sent to the loser's bracket, meaning most of your matches are played off stream. And if you want people to believe you're more than just one pop-off tournament, you kind of need them to see you play the game. What could have been possibly the greatest losers run of BCX was now just scores being reported in the background.
all around the map. I don't know if he can evade too much longer. He cannot. The superstar. Big time.
What I think is obviously the largest story of Doubles BCX was Boomy getting his 5th title and Snowy coming to terms with just being really good at doubles and winning again. However, in a really weird turn of events, things shifted at the end of 2022 when Snowy would drop Boomy for Luna in preparation of next year. The Winter Championship is happening, and when things thaw out after BCX, I started to see a theme really into 2023, a shaping of competition for doubles. But you start looking around, left and right. Boomy and Sandstorm are back as a team, okay. Luna and Snowy, I don't know how that's legally allowed. Phazon and Cody Travis, Cutie and Dog, not to mention the countless overseas threats that also come in for lands. But in the western side of things, I begin to look around. Things are starting to play out as I would have expected them. And I'm not saying that because I'm recording this 3 months later. And as you would have expected, the Sandstorm Boomy 2.0 variation Luna and Snowy start off the year with a major win. My only theory on how to defeat them is if you give Maid and experience a ping pong table that they can virtually play on before their match, they'd be warmed up enough to beat them. That, or give it one more month until the spring seasonal championship to see who will prove themselves the best before LAN tournaments begin later in the year.
Spring Championship North America Edition, live from Atlanta, Georgia. It's Flambeau and Duke. What's poppin'?
All right, what's the game plan looking like?
Okay, just try not to get destroyed by it.
Try not to get destroyed. Is this what top level comms are? Wait, when I think about it, it actually makes sense, other than they missed a huge part, which is putting Maid back on cross. Having a supportive player on a character that can also hold its own, I think just works out so well for them, especially when you consider the fact the main thing they need to do is handle Guichibo. Unstoppable kindly swapped off of Olgrim, which was very nice of him. And as far as I can see, Guichibo is your common Lin Fei main, but slightly more advanced than his brothers and sisters. There had to have been some sort of serious character crisis in Winters because taking Maid off of Cross is crazy to me. The other thing I noticed is that since Cross is definitely the best twos character in the game, or at least one of them, means a lot of teams are gonna run Cross comps. The only thing is it doesn't help that regardless of your experience on the character or level, Maid seems to be diffing every other Cross in a mirror match. The only one I fear is Dog, but luckily he has to face Luna and Snowy, so they'll be locked into the losers bracket where they're avoided, or not. And now you gotta face the guys who just 3-0'd Snowy and Luna, and the pregame casters casually bring up that you've only won MSI, and then the chat votes against you. Why don't we ever talk about, you know, good job on hitting top 3, or the Maid illusion taking major effect in all of his tournaments? You know, it's tough. The way Dog covers the center of the stage with his cross, on top of his super good awareness, it makes it difficult to interrupt him. And something like a halfway mirror match, it really just depends on who can capitalize the most from each fight.
At number 2, but I would be very happy if there
It's no doubt in my mind that
when things aren't going well for Experience, sometimes he checks out.
What Taza is saying is very true. If it hasn't been an obvious theme enough, Maid and Experience from the very beginning have ridiculous highs and unexpected lows. When your team is entirely based off of momentum, this can be kind of scary, especially when it starts out like this in the grand finals match. But to those who have been really paying attention, you'll know what I'm about to say. Maid has just dropped an unexpectedly low amount of damage. There's only two outcomes from this situation. Either they get absolutely rolled and lose this set, or we see a certain illusion of sorts take place. There's a certain ebb and flows to 2v2s that I think needs to take place. And you may think, well, that's kind of a cringe assumption that deep for Brawlhalla. But when I watch Maid and Experience play, it seems more like a team rather than the discourse Snowy and Luna were having. The greatest strength of Snowy and Luna is obviously their individual skill. But if you can't manage to separate Maid and Experience, they'll be nearly impossible to beat.
He has to get a weapon. He picks up the blasters, and Maid tags him with a D-lane recovery, double recovery. He's chasing him all the way off the side of the stage. And Experience gets double step recovery. Is that
Does he
it?
get the touch? No, he does manage to get the exhausting recovery. Goes down, and that might be it. That has to be it.
Trying to force a good team apart can be very difficult. That is easily one of the top 3 players in the world right now, dropping 161 damage at the end of Grand Finals. To be fair, give it 2 months, we see Luna and Snowy winning their first LAN major together. As we know, Maid and Experience get complacent at times, but if they continue to manage their need to win, I'm pretty sure we'll see those unexpected highs come back, and this time for BCX, they'll be able to make it to the finals in front of everyone to see. I myself may have gotten a little complacent these past 3 months. You see, there's this game, Valorant, and, you know, some other stuff. I'm very sorry. If you made it to the very end of this video, come check out the Discord. We'll talk more there. No worries if you didn't. You're not even hearing this. If you are, maybe subscribe. Stick around. Who knows? Thank you for watching. Bye. 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 Bye.